Nebulous Fleet Command is an RTS game which brings hard sci-fi space battles to life with authentic mechanics, all of which are inspired by the creator's real-world naval experience. Fans of Battlestar Galactica and The Expanse will feel right at home in the deeply strategic and immersive matches that Nebulous provides. Although the game is good, I think it could be even greater. Recently there was a major update which has been well received by players, and the devs deserve credit for their incredible work. The only common complaint I've seen playing is the lag issues, but I'm sure those will get worked out eventually. My major suggestion for this video before I get onto some smaller ones that would improve carrier gameplay is that the game is desperately in need of a matchmaker of some kind. Currently, the game feels like old-fashioned Counter-Strike that had no matchmaker and a huge server list. The reason it worked for Counter-Strike for as long as it did is because the matches were shorter and more fast-paced than a typical Nebulous match, allowing for a majority of the players after the match ends to stay on the same server and play for multiple consecutive times. This rarely or ever happens with a Nebulous match, with most players leaving the server after the match is finished to upgrade their fleets. Just jumping in real quick while I'm editing the video here. Another problem with the current matchmaking system is that it can literally take like 15 minutes to get a match started in Nebulous sometimes. It's ridiculous. I have a clip that I'll put on screen now of me scrolling up and down on the chat log, you know, the like join disconnect logged on a Nebulous match for just how long, how many people joined and disconnected for us to like properly start that match. Alright, back to old me. Firstly, to establish a baseline on how the system would work, there would be a new button on the main menu that says something like Matchmake, Auto Matchmaker, or Find a Match. The player would then be presented with the option to select a fleet of either faction of 3k points. The game on the back end will make an evaluation on the composition of all the players' fleets in the matchmaker, and then will attempt to make a well-rounded team for ANS and OSP, such as not having 4 dedicated carrier fleets on one side. Once the matchmaker has found players for all the slots, it'll present them with a confirmation message similar to how Counter-Strike 2 works, to make sure that all the players in that match aren't AFK. Once the match starts, it'll choose a dedicated server to host the match on and start the match as normal. This would not replace the current server system, rather it would be an addition to it, still allowing players to form custom matches in the way it currently works. My next set of suggestions involves carriers, specifically the usability of squadrons. In Nebulous, the way that squadrons currently work is that at launch, the squadrons group themselves up, matching each other by hull. They group into a maximum size of 12. The game allows you to select fighters from a group and detach them. Then you may reattach them to another squadron, or you can make a massive group of fighters. It should be noted that a squadron cannot have crafts of different types. This can be partially negated by telling a squadron to defend or follow another squadron. My suggestion specifically is to allow users to manually create squadrons of any size and containing crafts of any type. This would allow for bombers to group up easily with fighters, or scouts with their escorts, in a more tight and reliable way compared to marking as following or defending. This is specifically important as I've noticed a lot of unreliability with the defend and follow command, in a way which is kind of hard for me to characterize. My next minor suggestion for carrier gameplay is that currently small craft seem to stay in constant motion, which continuously consumes their limited fuel. Adding a hold position command, which would shut down their engines entirely, would allow players to organize squadrons near their carriers without wasting precious fuel while waiting for other fighters to arm and launch. This suggestion would coincide with another improvement, which would be to add a movement UI similar to the one used for larger hulls. This interface could include options like defend, move, follow, and the new movement type I suggested, such as hold position, so that people don't need to learn all the keybinds and they are presented with all the options that their fighters are capable of. My final suggestion is to add a function of skiffs and other small crafts which are equipped with chaff and flares, which is to provide a toggle to manually drop flares and shafts. This would allow players to create a countermeasure screen in front of ships that may not be equipped with them. So yeah, those were my suggestions. I hope the devs can maybe consider them if they ever see this video. which, to be honest, probably is not going to happen, but whatever. Yeah, you guys just have a good one.